All right, we're about to dive into an idea so huge, so mind bending, that it actually takes three completely different philosophies just to start wrapping our heads around it. We're talking about primordial chaos. And by the end of this, you're going to see how all these pieces snap together to form one unified and honestly pretty terrifying concept. So let's start with this question, because it just flips the script on almost every story we've ever heard. We always think about saving the world, right? But what if existence itself is the problem we're trying to solve? Yeah, that's the rabbit hole we're heading down today. To get to the bottom of this, we need to look at a very specific type of character that pops up in our stories, this cosmic anomaly, a villain that isn't really a villain. For this explainer, we're just going to call it the Void. So what's so weird about the Void? Well, most bad guys are driven by some kind of desire. They want power, they want revenge, they want control. The Void is driven by the exact opposite. It wants nothing, annihilation, non-existence, which leads to the big question, why? And that brings us to our very first clue. The motive, the reason for wanting nothing, actually comes from the super pessimistic philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer. He's the one who gives us the why behind this entity's absolutely horrifying goal. So Schopenhauer's big idea was this. Underneath everything we see and experience, there's this single, raw force he called the will to live. Now, think of it less like a desire and more like a blind, endless, irrational hunger that drives everything that exists. But here's the catch. Because that hunger can never, ever be satisfied, the universe it creates is fundamentally defined by one thing: suffering. And this image right here, it perfectly captures his next point. He said our world, the reality we think is so solid, is just a thin illusion. He called it the veil of Maya. It's like a paper-thin sheet of ice covering a vast, raging, chaotic ocean. And that ocean? That's the will. It's the true, painful nature of reality that this illusion is desperately trying to hide from us. So what you get is this, well, it's a perfect philosophical nightmare. A cosmic engine that's literally powered by its own misery. Just look at this cycle. Being forced to exist creates suffering. That suffering then creates hate and anger. And that hate becomes the very fuel that keeps the whole horrible machine going. It's a trap with no exit. And all of a sudden, the Void's motive just clicks into place. It isn't acting out of malice. It's a really twisted kind of mercy. It wants to do what Schopenhauer called resignation. It wants to just shut off this cosmic engine of pain for good. But hold on. If its goal is to end suffering, why do we find it so terrifying? And that leads us to clue number 2. To really get the terror, we need to understand the nature of the Void. And for that, we have to turn to the master of cosmic dread, H.P. Lovecraft. The core of Lovecraftian horror is so interesting. The real terror isn't some monster that wants to eat you. No, the real horror is that moment of dizzying, mind-breaking realization that the universe is so vast, it doesn't even notice you're here. It's not that it hates you, it's that it's completely, utterly indifferent. And that knowledge is what shatters our sanity. And the Void is the perfect embodiment of this idea. See, it's not a person you can reason with or fight in a normal way. It's a fundamental truth of the universe. The threat it poses isn't just physical, it's metaphysical. Its very existence proved that our reality, our sense of meaning and order, it's all just a temporary, fleeting cosmic mistake. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Our entire reality, with all its dramas and heroes and struggles, is nothing more than a thin, fragile film stretched over an abyss of cosmic indifference. A truth so immense and awful it would drive us completely mad if we ever saw it clearly. Okay, so we've got the motive from Schopenhauer and the nature from Lovecraft. But what about its origin? Where did the Void come from? Well, our final clue takes us way, way back to the very beginning of biblical cosmology. Before creation, before there was light, the book of Genesis describes the state of reality with a Hebrew phrase, tohu wabohu. Let's just sit with that for a second. It means formless and void. It's a state of pure, chaotic, undifferentiated potential. It's not evil, it's just the raw, unstructured stuff of the universe before any order was imposed on it. And this is the absolute key distinction to make. The Void isn't like a figure such as Satan, right? Satan is a fallen being who exists inside the created order. His identity is defined by his opposition to good. But the void? The void is what came before all that. It's ontologically prior. It represents a state so ancient, so primordial, that the very concepts of good and evil hadn't even been invented yet. Okay, we have our 3 clues. The motive from Schopenhauer, the nature from Lovecraft, and the origin from Genesis. It's time to put all the pieces together and finally solve this cosmic mystery. This table really lays it all out, doesn't it? You can see how each piece of the puzzle contributes something essential. Lovecraft gives us the feeling of it all, that deep psychological dread you get from an indifferent universe. The Bible's tohu wabohu gives us the origin story, a state that existed before morality itself. And then Schopenhauer, he gives us the engine, that blind, painful, striving force that powers the whole thing. And there it is, the grand, chilling synthesis. A universe that is built upon an engine of pain, adrift in a cosmos that doesn't care, and is always, constantly, at risk of just collapsing back into the formless, pre-creation chaos it came from. In this framework, that's the fundamental truth of reality. So, what do you do with that information? In a universe like the one we just described, what does it even mean to be a hero? What's the point? I mean, really think about it. If you save the world, what are you actually doing? You're just keeping that engine of suffering chugging along. Every single victory is temporary because the fundamental nature of the universe itself is stacked against you. So why even bother? Seriously, what is the point? Well, here's the profound answer. In a universe that has no built-in meaning, heroism isn't about winning, it's about rebellion. It's about making a conscious choice to reject the universe's bleak, pessimistic premise. It's the act of creating your own meaning, of forging value out of sheer defiance. It's screaming no into the deafening silence of a cosmic void. Which leaves us with one last, kind of haunting question to chew on. If a being that is held together only by its own desire to exist is basically a slave to that desire, and if our own lives are defined by that same constant, relentless striving, then what does it really mean to be free? Does real liberation sometimes mean learning to let go of the very thing that keeps us going? That's something to think about.